what's happening around the world
and what's happening here at home. Good evening and a very warm welcome. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. I'm Thiruni Karunaratna.
And I'm Sandra Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst. Sri Lanka clinches victory against the West Indies in second T20I encounter. Trump claims peace treaty with Iran will be signed today. No official decision reached yet regarding the peace pact. An official statement from Iran. Hand over governance immediately. Opposition factions make urgent appeals. What is driving the panic within the opposition coalition? Second generation explains. The government will not contract or downsize the economy under any crisis situation. A firm assurance from the Prime Minister. Dengue fatalities surged to 24. A nationwide mosquito eradication week commences tomorrow. 2 suspects linked to organized crime and drug trafficking arrested following deportation from Dubai.
Sri Lankan cricket fans have plenty to celebrate today after the national team delivered an impressive performance against the West Indies.
Stephen Machado is now joining us with the details.
Yes, thank you, Tony and Sandru. Now, taking a look at the cricket situation in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka registered a convincing 37-run victory in the second T20 international against the West Indies, bouncing back strongly to keep the series alive. The result means the 3-match T20 international series is now level at 1-1, with all eyes set on the final decisive encounter between the two sides. Sri Lanka produced a commanding all-round performance to defeat the West Indies by 37 runs in the second T20 international in Kingston, Jamaica, levelling the 3-match series at 1-1. Winning the toss, the West Indies opted to field first. Sri Lanka, batting first, suffered an early setback, losing 3 wickets for just 43 runs. Captain Kusal Mendis contributed 31 runs. A crucial 5th wicket partnership between Dasun Shanaka and Kamil Mishara added 103 runs from just 42 deliveries, shifting the momentum firmly in Sri Lanka's favour. Dasun Shanaka scored 58 runs off 24 deliveries, including 5 fours and 4 sixers. Kamil Mishara remained unbeaten on 61. Sri Lanka finished their innings on 194 for the loss of 6 wickets in their allotted 20 overs. Chasing a target of 195, the West Indies lost their first wicket at just 7 runs, with Dunitwe Lalage making the breakthrough. A delivery from Dushmanthe Chamira led the West Indies to lose their second wicket at only 9 runs. The high scorer for the West Indies was Roman Powell, who managed 43 runs. Dushmanthe Chamira and Wanindu Hasaranga claimed 3 wickets each, while Dunitwe Lalage picked up 2 wickets. As a result, the West Indies were bowled out for 157 runs in 18.1 overs, handing Sri Lanka a convincing 37-run victory. The third and final T20 international scheduled to be played in Kingston, Jamaica, will be crucial for both teams as they look to secure the series. The match is set to begin at 6 a.m. Sri Lanka time. Sri Lanka had also won the preceding ODI series against the West Indies. Notably, it marked Sri Lanka's first ODI series victory in the Caribbean in 23 years, making the achievement even more significant.
See, it's very special for me and for the team as well, because we wanted to keep the series alive. So, I wanted to go and express myself. So I took on the game. Really happy of the contribution.
US President Donald Trump said a deal to stop the war in Iran could be signed as early as today.
However, Tehran disputed the timeline but said the signing could happen in the coming days. We now cross over to Charlene Ratnavira for the latest updates.
Yes, thank you, Sandru and Theruni. Now, in the latest developments, US President Donald Trump and Pakistani officials said an Iran-US Memorandum of Understanding is set for electronic signing today. But Tehran's path to signing is being clouded by hardline backlash, disputes over nuclear terms and the fate of frozen funds. However, according to Iranian media, Tehran has not yet taken a final decision on the framework agreement to end the war. Meanwhile, Qatari negotiators have flown to Iran in a bid to help conclude the deal. Now, Tasnim news agency said the purpose of the visit is to go over the latest developments regarding the diplomatic process. Moreover, Lebanese President Joseph Aoun in his remarks have said that Lebanon faces choice between state authority and militia rule, referring to Hezbollah. Let's now deep dive into the latest updates.
US President Donald Trump in a Truth Social post said an agreement with Iran is scheduled to get signed today and would reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Excerpt. The deal is scheduled to get signed tomorrow, and immediately after it is signed, the Hormuz Strait is open to all. End of excerpt. US President Donald Trump added that once the situation stabilizes, the US will take control of and destroy what he described as Iran's remaining nuclear material. Excerpt. At the appropriate time, when all is calm, we will go in and get the nuclear dust buried deep under the powerful sunken granite mountains, thanks to our beautiful B-2 bombers and their brilliant pilots, and downplane and destroy it, whether in Iran or the United States. End of excerpt. A Qatari delegation has also traveled to Tehran to push for final approval of the deal to end the war. The mediation team is headed by an advisor to Qatari Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jassim Al Thani. Meanwhile, Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said in a post on X that Islamabad was preparing for an electronic signing to be followed by technical level talks in the coming week. Excerpt. We are closer to a peace deal than ever before, with finalization likely expected in the next 24 hours. Pakistan is preparing for the electronic signing of the peace deal immediately after, followed by technical level talks next week. We are confident that this historic peace deal will form a strong foundation for lasting peace. End of excerpt. However, Iranian officials have cast doubt on the timeline, and hardliners inside Iran have voiced opposition to the terms being discussed. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghei, speaking before Trump's post, was quoted by state media as saying yesterday it would not be tomorrow, but could happen in the coming days. Iran's Fars news agency reported that Tehran has not yet taken a final decision on the framework agreement, with reviews of its political, legal and technical aspects still ongoing at expert and decision-making levels. The political deputy of the IRGC, Yadollah Javani, said Iran's military, its diplomats and public are working, quote-unquote, together toward a common goal of protecting the rights and interests of the Iranian people. According to the IRNA news agency, he said Iran's armed forces were ready to respond to any threat with quote-unquote eyes open and hands on the trigger. Meanwhile, dozens protested yesterday outside a foreign ministry office in Iran's northeastern city of Mashhad, chanting slogans against top diplomat Abbas Araghchi after a televised interview in which he discussed signing a peace deal with the US. In a video shared by Fars news agency, women in black chadars chanted, quote-unquote, death to dishonorable Araghchi, the infiltrator, in front of the building while waving red and black flags. The protest comes as the peace deal touted by US President Donald Trump and mediator Pakistan faces opposition from hardline Iranian figures. They argue that it does not serve Iran's interests and would deprive Tehran of leverage over the Strait of Hormuz, and they also accuse Iranian negotiators of having made too many concessions to secure the deal.
Now, despite international reports suggesting the possibility of a peace agreement between the United States and Iran, Israeli military operations in Lebanon continue. According to foreign media, Israel has carried out strikes on several locations in southern Lebanon over the past 24 hours, targeting positions associated with Hezbollah. Now, President Trump has called for all sides to stand down in the wake of the Beirut attack, which he said should not have happened.
The Israeli military has released a statement on its latest attack in the area of Dengue in the southern suburbs of Lebanon's capital Beirut. It claimed hitting a Hezbollah command center used by a group to plot against the Israeli citizens and forces operating in southern Lebanon. The raid was carried out after Hezbollah launched aerial attacks towards the territory of Israel earlier in the day, according to the statement. The attacks reportedly followed evacuation warnings issued for residents in 29 towns and villages. The Israeli military has also instructed people living near the Zahrani River to leave the area immediately. This could be a major development as far as Iran is concerned, as the situation in Lebanon is an integral and central part of the potential peace deal between the US and Iran. Meanwhile, Lebanon's leadership has taken an increasingly firm stance against both Hezbollah and Iranian involvement in the country's affairs. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun said yesterday that Lebanon faces a fateful choice between strengthening state authority or remaining hostage to the logic of militias. In a statement marking the 48th anniversary of the assassination of former Lebanese Minister Tony Suleiman, Aoun said the country stands at a critical crossroad. Excerpt. This painful anniversary comes as Lebanon today stands before a fateful crossroads. Either its people unite around a sovereign state that monopolizes arms, upholds the rule of law, and protects its citizens regardless of affiliation or position, or it remains hostage to the logic of militias and a culture of exclusion. End of excerpt. Aoun described national unity as an existential necessity and pledged to work toward a Lebanon where citizens live freely and equally under the protection of state institutions. In a separate interview with CNN, President Aoun strongly criticized Hezbollah and Iran, stating that Lebanon is not a proxy of Iran and that Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem does not represent all Lebanese citizens. Prime Minister Nawaf Salam echoed those remarks, calling for an end to Iran's use of Lebanon as a proxy arena. He argued that Hezbollah's actions have brought destruction and instability to the country rather than benefiting its people.
Against the backdrop of current developments, what is the situation unfolding within Russia? According to international media reports, Russia has implemented restrictions on its oil sales.
Russia has placed a cap on the maximum volume of fuel a consumer can purchase per visit across filling station networks in several key cities and regions, including Moscow, St. Petersburg and Tatarstan. These fuel rationing measures have already been observed at several petrol stations within the Republic of Tatarstan, which stands as Russia's second largest oil-producing region. Tatarstan authorities clarified that the restrictions were introduced as a preemptive measure to maintain market stability. This supply crunch is a direct fallout of recent drone and missile strikes launched by Ukrainian armed forces targeting several massive oil refineries in the strategic Tatarstan region. Officials emphasized that the temporary limits were put in place to prevent panic buying and to deter the public from holding large quantities of fuel.
World News.
A joint opposition public meeting was held in Kandy today, presided over by former Minister Professor G.L. Pires.
The country has already hit rock bottom. There is absolutely nothing left to ruin. It is completely devastated. These novice politicians simply do not comprehend the gravity of the situation. No matter how much we warned the public not to make this blunder, they went ahead and did it anyway. Now, after making that choice, the public is turning to us and asking us what to do next. The collapse of this administration will be engineered by their own actions. We do not even need to intervene. They will ensure this government's downfall themselves. My friends, I want to remind you that the exact team capable of rescuing this nation is seated right here inside this hall. The public is suffering immensely and has been left utterly helpless and stranded. A consensus is now growing within society that individuals devoid of experience cannot govern this country. The public is now prepared to entrust the nation to those with proven experience. These experienced individuals are not found elsewhere. I remind you that they are right here representing this joint opposition. Let us all unite for this cause. As the joint opposition, it is imperative that we all stand together. It is completely irrelevant who becomes the president or who becomes the prime minister. We must not allow ourselves to be divided. We must embark on this journey as a unified front. To achieve this, we are prepared to extend our direct and unconditional support to anyone. We stand ready to help. However, we make one earnest appeal to everyone. If we are to send this despicable, wretched and murderous administration packing, we must completely unite as a singular opposition. Regarding the ongoing actions against Saleh, if he is implicated in any activities surrounding the Easter Sunday attacks, let the law take its course against him. We have absolutely no issue with that, and we will not complain or make excuses. But what is being demanded now? They're demanding the passwords to Saleh's computer. This computer belongs to the former intelligence chief who served during the conclusion of the war. You're well aware that until the war concluded in 2009, the critical intelligence utilized to eliminate Tamil children originated from Saleh's computer. The strategic operations carried out by the long-range reconnaissance patrol were coordinated from there. Therefore, remember that accessing it is tantamount to exposing every single classified detail of the country's war to the entire world. This is the agenda currently being executed, and it is driven by external forces. They're demanding that Saleh hand over the passwords to crack open the computer. This data is not his personal inheritance. It is the classified information of this nation. It is the state's intelligence and counter-terrorism data. What are they attempting to expose is historical intelligence spanning up to potential future terrorist threats. That is what we should truly fear, nothing else. Thus, we know that this government is not merely incompetent, it is entirely incapable of governance.
A meeting of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna loyalists was held yesterday in Kumarigama, Ampara. The event was presided over by the party's national organizer, Nama Rajapaksa.
For 76 years, leaders who genuinely served this nation were subjected to insults and defamation. Mahinda Rajapaksa, the man who saved this country, was routinely insulted with derogatory slurs. Every single sector faced ridicule. They hurled insults and claimed that they were the only ones capable of rebuilding this nation. Then they claimed that their party held a monopoly and educated intellectuals. They constantly claimed that parliament was filled with nothing but thieves and crooks, urging the public to use the parliamentary election to clear up the parliament and vote an entirely new team in. Well, MP Veera Singha fell victim to that. Many who are standing here today fell victim to it, and I was caught up in that clean out as well. The public is making only one demand. They are crowding around us in these villages, urging us to pick up the nation's development right where Mahinda Rajapaksa left off his campaign and to reignite the development drive across our cities and rural areas. They look at Nama and ask him to do it. And mark my words, he will deliver on that promise. Look at the reality today. Bulk fertilizer prices have skyrocketed to 18,000 to 20,000 rupees. Our message to the current government is simple. Please step out into the villages and connect with the ordinary people. Stop confining yourselves to Colombo in suits and ties. I urge the public to confront government ministers with these very issues whenever you meet them. Question them about employment opportunities. Question them about fair paddy prices. They bear a fundamental responsibility to provide answers to these grievances.
Meanwhile, the Samagijana Balawege asserts that they must be voted into power immediately to usher in an era where development plans are executed the moment the leader envisions them.
I state clearly and with utmost responsibility that within a very short span of time, Ranil and Sajid will unite, bridging these two parties to launch a victorious political journey for this country.
This is why I say entrust the country to Sajid. If you give him the mandate, it will not just be about executing promises. We will enter an era where national progress happens at the very moment Sajid conceives the idea. I must remind you that such an era is just around the corner and that we are launching our campaign to secure governance right from this doorstep. What is the true agenda behind the coalition of the opposition and its aligned factions? Leader of the second generation, Uvindu Vijayveera, shared his perspectives on this issue in Kandy today.
I hope no one takes offense at my bluntness. We have absolutely no interest in aligning ourselves with an opposition whose members are practically on the verge of counting roof tiles inside a prison cell. From what we gather, this entire alliance was harshly thrown together as a desperate shield to protect themselves from facing imminent jail time. This does not resemble a genuine joint opposition. It looks more like a unified front of future convicts waiting to be incarcerated. Therefore, it is clear to us that neither of these factions will ever fulfill the true aspirations of the public. The genuine voice of the masses is completely suppressed. Because of this, we are now tasked with forging the nation's next political force, one that bypasses both the toothless opposition currently sitting inside parliament and the rejected opposition outside it. Let's be honest about the reality today. The decent, everyday SLPP supporters in the villages have been left politically homeless. Similarly, the well-meaning traditional UNP supporters in rural communities who once naively hoped the leader of the opposition would build a viable alternative government now have nowhere left to turn.
විපක්ෂ නායකතුමා ඊළඟ බලයක් ගොන්නගයි කියලා හිතපු අද ගමේ හොඳ UNP මනුස්සයට යන්න තැනක් නැහැ.
Minister of Public Security Anand Vishaypala made the following remarks about defeated political groups seeking to return to power.
As you know, several political parties and movements that were rejected by the people are once again asking for the mandate to govern the country. They are now seeking another opportunity to lead the nation. Despite being accused of driving the country into bankruptcy, it is not merely our allegation. Even the Supreme Court has ruled that members of the Rajapaksa family were responsible for actions that contributed to the country's economic collapse. After bankrupting the nation and causing immense hardship to the people, they are now returning and asking for public support, claiming that they can rebuild the country. At a time when investigations into bribery, corruption, fraud, financial misconduct and other criminal activities are being accelerated and are carried out more effectively, these groups have become fearful. It is in response to these developments that they are making such statements.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya affirms that the government will not downsize or contract the economy regardless of the severity of any ongoing crises. Speaking at an event in Galle, the Prime Minister emphasized that despite facing diverse economic challenges, substantial funds have been allocated through the budget to prioritise the development of the nation's human capital.
The newly constructed three-story building at Al Mubarak College in Dadala, Galle was officially handed over to the students yesterday.
අපේ අයවැය තුල විශාල මුදලක් අපි මේ වෙනුවෙන් යොදවනවා.
We have allocated a substantial amount within our budget toward this cause. It includes developing our school system, training our teachers, producing the necessary textbooks and modules for these essential reforms, and establishing the required technological infrastructure. We have directed massive investments toward all of these areas. Since 2025, we have been progressively allocating these funds under the leadership of the Honorable President. However, we are executing all of this amid severe global economic crises. Regardless of the challenges we face, we must safeguard our education system. Under no circumstances will we shut down or contract our economy. As a government, we are working with absolute determination to drive the nation forward, even as we painstakingly rebuild this economy through these difficult times. Consequently, securing this kind of progress during challenging periods may require us to make certain sacrifices.
Meanwhile, the meeting was held at Temple Trees between Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya and a delegation from UNICEF. The discussions focused primarily on the post-disaster recovery efforts within the education sector. During the meeting, both parties reviewed the progress of the first phase of the response program launched to support disaster-affected children and schools, while also deliberating on future courses of action.
Weather first.
We now turn our attention to the upcoming weather forecast.
The Department of Meteorology says that strong winds of about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected at times across several parts of the island due to the active southwest monsoonal condition.
Stevin Machado is now ready to bring you today's weather update.
Yes, thank you once again, Terani and Sandaru. Now, the Department of Meteorology states that several spells of showers are expected in the western, Sabaragamo, northwestern provinces, as well as in the districts of Gaul, Mathura, Kandy and Nuwara Eliya. Now, the department also noted that showers or thunder showers may develop in a few places within the Uva province and in the eastern province over some time. Now, strong winds of about 40 to 50 kilometers an hour can be expected at times over the western slopes of the Central Hills and in the northern and north-central provinces, as well as in the Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. The department added that fairly strong winds of around 30 to 40 kilometers an hour can be expected at times over the other areas of the island. Sandro, back to you.
Thank you, Stevin. Moving on to more news. Driven by a sharp surge in dengue cases, a special National Dengue Control Week is scheduled to commence tomorrow. The Ministry of Public Administration, provincial councils and local government announced that this dedicated anti-dengue drive will remain in effect from tomorrow until the 20th.
From tomorrow until the 17th of June, a 3-day intensive dengue control drive will be carried out across all public spaces island-wide. On the 18th, the anti-dengue program will shift its focus to all public and private institutions within the country's education sector. Under this phase, comprehensive cleaning operations are planned for all educational facilities where children gather, including schools, preschools and private tuition academies. The cleanup operations targeting general public and private corporate premises will take place on the 19th. Meanwhile, the 20th of this month has been designated for residents to inspect and clean their homes and surrounding neighborhoods. Allowing dengue breeding grounds to persist on one's property is a punishable offence under Sri Lankan criminal law. Individuals who fail to clean up their premises despite receiving warnings will face legal prosecution. Authorities are placing a sharp focus on construction sites during this campaign. The police warned that if these sites are found to be maintained in a manner that poses a threat to public health, legal injunctions or closure orders could be issued against the premises. Against this backdrop, the National Dengue Control Unit strongly urges citizens to eliminate potential mosquito breeding spots in their immediate surroundings. Health officials further advise the public to suspect any fever as potential dengue infection and seek immediate medical attention to prevent severe complications and fatalities. So far this year, Sri Lanka has recorded 41,144 dengue cases and 24 related deaths. Tragically, 4 young children are among the fatalities. Currently, the outbreak spans 12 districts with active transmission recorded across 74 MOH divisions. The Western Province remains the worst affected region, with the Colombo district accounting for 20.8% of the total caseload, followed closely by the Gampaha district at 17.5%. The National Dengue Control Unit added that high numbers of dengue infections are also being monitored in the Mathura, Gaul, Ratnapura and Kandy districts.
News First. Main sponsor.
2 countries, 2 degrees within 4 years. Call ACBT. 2 countries, 2 degrees in engineering within 4 years. Be a professional in robotics, mechatronics, and electrical engineering. The next generation of careers. That's 7699499 or visit www.acbt.net.
Welcome back to the news. 2 suspects linked to organized crime and drug trafficking have been arrested following their deportation from Dubai.
Two suspects linked to organized crime and drug trafficking have been arrested after being deported from Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. Police said the arrests were made by security authorities in Abu Dhabi before the suspects were transferred to Sri Lanka. One of the suspects is the brother of Modara Nipuna, an alleged organized criminal and drug trafficker. He is a 25-year-old resident of Modara Mavatha in Colombo 15. The other suspect, identified as Blue Mandal Sanka, is also wanted in connection with several serious crimes in Sri Lanka. He was previously arrested in 2019 by Pamunikama police for cannabis possession and later in 2020 over a violent assault in Modara involving a sharp weapon. A warrant was issued against him in 2022 by the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court. Meanwhile, the second suspect handed over to the Colombo Central Crime Investigation Division is a 40-year-old resident of Colombo 14. He is facing charges in a 2010 assault case in Ganemulla and was previously arrested in Kalania for heroin possession. The suspect is also alleged to have links to multiple shooting incidents and murders. He is additionally accused of aiding and abetting a shooting in Maligavatta in 2016.
Inspector General of Police Attorney at Law Priyantha Veerasurya announced that efforts to restructure the police service and expedite the recruitment of new police officers are currently well underway.
The newly constructed Kopai Police Complex was officially inaugurated today. The ceremony was held under the patronage of the Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs, Anand Vijaypala, and Inspector General of Police, Attorney at Law Priyantha Veerasurya, among other dignitaries.
Every single one of these police officers is duty-bound to deliver an efficient service that fosters public trust. Concurrently, if there is any inefficiency or misconduct on the part of police officers, a systematic framework has been established to hold them accountable. Should a local police station fail to address your grievance properly, this mechanism provides the public with the direct opportunity to escalate the complaint to the respective division in charge, the Inspector General of Police or the Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police.
A vibrant celebration of culture, cuisine and diplomacy took center stage in Colombo as the Embassy of Turkey hosted its annual International Breakfast Day, highlighting both culinary richness and strengthening bilateral ties with Sri Lanka. Newsfirst's Zulfik Farzan reports.
Colombo was treated to a rich blend of flavor, culture and diplomacy as the Embassy of Turkey hosted its International Breakfast Day, turning a simple morning meal into a vibrant culinary experience. The event, hosted by the Ambassador of Turkey and his wife, brought together guests to experience the essence of a traditional Turkish breakfast, a meal widely regarded as one of the most diverse and cherished culinary traditions in the world. At the heart of the spread was an impressive selection of Turkish delicacies, with 6 varieties of olives and 14 types of cheese taking center stage. Zulfik Farzan of Newsfirst spoke with Turkey's ambassador to Sri Lanka, Semi Lutfu Turgut, who outlined what made this year's event distinct.
It's another year and another International Breakfast Day hosted by the Embassy of Turkey right here in Colombo. Now with me is His Excellency, the Ambassador of Turkey, to walk us through what's unique this time around. Ambassador, thank you for taking your time to speak with us. We met last time as well at the residence where you delivered some unique Turkish cuisine. But this time around, it's something different and more unique. Can you walk us through of what this is?
So, first of all, last time I promised everybody, all guests, that I'm going to bring more olives and more cheese from Turkey. And this year we have 6 different types of olives and 14 different types of cheese. And we are known as olive and cheese at the breakfast. It is an integral part of our breakfast. And we have more than 100 different types of olives, and we have more than 200 different types of cheese. So I hope you have the chance to test all of them, to try all of them. And I invite all the audience, all the Sri Lankans, to come to Turkey and test that huge variety and enjoy their stay in Turkey.
Indeed, Ambassador, and we would say bon appetit for this magnificent cuisine that you have served us today with varieties of cheese and olives, but I want to shift gears to diplomacy. And you've been here for quite some time in Sri Lanka. Where do you see the relationship between Sri Lanka and Turkey heading in the future?
So we have strong relations on tea. Our trade volumes predominantly is based on tea that we imported. And we are exporting some electrical equipments and machinery and some threads and fabrics to Sri Lanka. I think due to the importance of textile sector has more room to go. There is a potential over there. And also logistics. Turkey and Sri Lanka are at the crossroads of intersecting roads of famous and valuable and important trade routes. So we can complement each other with our warehouses, with our infrastructure, because the position of both countries are very strategic. And by helping each other, by creating synergy, we will have win-win situation for both nations.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for joining us at this unique event of serving breakfast on International Breakfast Day. And with that, all I can say is not only does breakfast bring countries together, it does not also fill the stomachs of everyone who wants to eat. But with diplomacy and International Breakfast Day, countries from the East and the West are united once again. Farzan, Newsfirst, Colombo.
Sangamam 2026, the world's largest Bharatanatyam dance lesson, took place today at Golface Green in Colombo. At the event was 4,988 Bharatanatyam dancers performed simultaneously this morning, successfully setting a new Guinness World Record.
A grand Bharatanatyam performance organized by Indian and Sri Lankan Bharatanatyam educational institutions was held this morning at Golface Green in Colombo. During the event, it was officially announced that 4,988 Bharatanatyam dancers performed together in a single location in an attempt to enter the Guinness World Records with the official certificate presented on the occasion. The performance brought together Bharatanatyam artists from 25 districts across Sri Lanka, along with international participants from countries including India, Australia, Canada and France, making a large-scale cultural collaboration. The event was held under the patronage of Deputy Minister of Plantation and Social Infrastructure, Sundaralingam Pradeep, and was attended by several other dignitaries, including Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Santosh Shah, Sri Lanka's Minister of Fisheries, Ramalingam Chandrasekhar, and Deputy Minister of Labour, Mahinda Jayasinghe.
What you have achieved here is 4,988. Congratulations. New record has been made.
I think a lot of people around the world would wonder why a classical Indian tradition that dates back to the Bharat's Natya Shastra, one of the classical Indian dance forms, Bharatanatyam, is making a world record in Sri Lanka in this very, very iconic Golface greens. It's a reminder of our rich tradition, shared tradition. I think these dance forms are as much Indian as they are Sri Lankan. The cultural bridge that existed for centuries still is alive, and that is, I think, a really heartening thing to see. It is a reminder of how we are bound by history and our future is interlinked. It is in a very indirect form promotion of Sri Lanka. It's as a tourist destination, as an economic destination, as an investment destination, and I think I'm really delighted to that effect as well.
This record is about more than just a certificate on a wall. I can imagine how hard you have practiced, how hard you have worked for this. I can imagine about the long hours of practice, the tired feet and the constant rehearsals. To our amazing dancers all around this Golface Green, this is your moment. I've got the first certificate from the Guinness organization, and as the present government in our country, we are very proud of you.
The event was held in Sri Lanka following an invitation extended by the Deputy Minister of Plantation and Social Infrastructure, Sundaralingam Pradeep, following his visit to India.
The Royal Asiatic Society of Sri Lanka's Research Conference 2026 was held for the second day today in Colombo.
The Royal Asiatic Society of Sri Lanka Research Conference 2026 continued today in Colombo, marking the second day of its two-day academic forum under the theme Layers of Time, Heritage, Culture and Society in Sri Lanka. Today's sessions focused on the presentation of 44 research papers by more than 50 researchers covering a wide range of fields including religion, sociology, psychology, philosophy, anthropology and intercultural communication. The discussions highlighted emerging academic perspectives on how Sri Lanka's heritage continues to shape contemporary society. Organized by the Royal Asiatic Society of Sri Lanka in collaboration with the Central Cultural Fund, the conference brought together local and international scholars to examine Sri Lanka's historical, cultural and social landscape through an interdisciplinary lens.
The FIFA World Cup 2026 continues to captivate football fans across the globe with the excitement of the game unfolding day by day.
To bring us the details on this story, Stevin, over to you once again.
Yes, thank you, Therani and Sandra once again. Now shifting your focus back into the sports arena once again, the FIFA World Cup 2026 is already delivering high-intensity action across the US and Mexico, with early group stage matches producing dramatic wins, tight contests and shifting momentum in several groups. Now, early results have seen strong starts from teams such as Mexico, South Korea, Scotland, Australia and England, all securing crucial opening wins in their group fixtures. Several matches were played today, and here is a summary of the fixtures and results. FIFA World Cup 2026. All matches of the tournament can be watched live on Sirasa TV and TV1.
And with that, we wrap up primetime news for tonight.
Thank you for joining us. Good night.